Welcome to Jammin' with Jason Mefford, a show where we discuss topics relevant to chief audit executives and professionals in audit, risk, and compliance. We discuss the technical and soft skills needed to navigate the minefields of organizations. You hear best practices and practical advice for helping you advance your career, and we'll even talk about music, mindfulness, and psychology, because we can. So sit back and relax while you listen to the #1 podcast in the world for internal auditors, unscripted and unedited. Welcome to another episode of Jamming with Jason. Hey, my friends, welcome back this week. We've got an exciting episode, and it's one of them where it's just you and me. And so as from the title, Jammin' with Jason, I thought today, because there's been a song on my mind, that I figured we would talk about leading your team well. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. But before we get started, I really appreciate all of you that reach out to me and connect on LinkedIn. That's a great way to get in touch with me. So if you're a loyal listener, if you're listening to this, if you enjoy it, please connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message. When you connect, do a personalized message. Let me know that you listen to the podcast, and tell me what you enjoy the most about it. It means a lot to me because I'm sitting here in my little recording studio and I can't see your faces, so it's always nice to get feedback from people. And I wanted to share one of those with you. Oliver Stroman actually sent me a message and said, I'm following your podcast for a few weeks and find them highly insightful. You bring across things in a relaxed way that suits me. So Oliver, thank you. Thank you for reaching out and for letting me know that. That's what I'm trying to do, my friends. I'm trying to, talk about not only things that are relevant if you're a chief audit executive or if you're a professional in internal audit, risk, or compliance, but also some of those things that really can help us individually as human beings, because I'm not just trying to help you, do better in your career, but really live a full and fulfilled life as well. So like I said, reach out to me, connect with me, let me know that you're listening. And if you can also do me another favor, again, if you're enjoying this, other people that probably will as well. If you can reach out to at least one or two people each week and just say, hey, I just listened to this episode. It was great. I think you'd enjoy it too. And just share that, because, sharing is caring. And the more that we can get the word out there, that's really my goal. Because like I said, I'm here to try to help you improve your career, have the kind of career that you would like, but also to really help you unlock your potential and have a very fulfilled life as well. Now with it too, in today's episode, we're going to talk about leadership. And, these are unscripted. I got a few notes. I'm actually going to pull out the guitar and play a little bit for you here in just a minute as we jam together. But, leadership is one of those things in our professions where we don't get a lot of leadership training. Most of our training is on technical areas, how to do our job better. And the older that I've gotten and the more people that I have managed and led over my career, the more I realize how important these leadership skills are. And so that's why I want to talk to you today about that. And one of the reasons for that is I'm not going to go into a lot of depth today in talking about some specific things about leadership, because there's actually a great opportunity this next week. C-Risk Academy is doing a webinar. I'll be talking with Shanda Miller, who is a leadership expert, and it's called The 4 Secrets to Leading Productive and Thriving Audit Teams. It's a free webinar, and it's going to be happening on June 30th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So in the show notes down below, I've got a link for you. And like I said, it's a free webinar, but come and hop on and listen, because Shanda's actually going to share 4 secrets that really will make your life much easier. In fact, if you lead people, sometimes we end up working a lot, and some of these secrets that she's going to share will actually help you, so you don't have to work as much and you won't be as stressed, and you'll be way more productive. You'll be more productive, but also your team will be more productive as well. So like I said, I wanted to mention that at the top of the episode in case you don't make it all the way through. But like I said, there's also a link down below in the show notes as well. Okay, so now we get to the fun part. I hope you think it's fun. I think it's fun when I'm actually going to pull out the guitar. I know a lot of people have commented on that, and music is an important part of my life, and so I want to share that with you. And so again, just kind of imagine as though we're sitting around, maybe in my living room or on the patio in the back, and I just pull out the guitar and we're just singing and talking and having a good time in that relaxed way that Oliver was talking about. So that's what I want to do this week. Like I said, I've had the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song "Teach Your Children" on my mind for about the last week. And whenever I get a song like that just kind of gets stuck in my head, I try to figure out why it's there and try to get it out. So I want to share this with you this week, and then I want to go through and talk about some of the lyrics and how this actually relates to leadership and some things that we can learn from it as well. And then again, give you some tips, but obviously if you want more information, make sure you're on that webinar next week with Shanda and myself. So, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of it. Since this is all live and unedited and unscripted, there's going to be a little movement here because I got to move stuff around a little bit here to be able to get the mic to the right place so that I'm not overpowering you with the guitar. And but yeah, like I said, I just want to go through and play this song for you. It's a beautiful song. If you're not familiar with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, hopefully you are. They are one of the super groups. Each one of them had their own kind of superstardom and in different bands before. And they came together off and on over the years and have actually created some great songs. This one, "Teach Your Children," was written by Graham Nash. And like I said, it's a great song. So here we go. We're going to try to play a little bit, sing along if you know the song. And then, like I said, we're going to go through and kind of talk about it, okay? You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the ones they pick, the ones you'll know by. And don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. All right, so I'm not going to play the whole song for you, but I just wanted to talk about some of these first lyrics as well, because I think it's a great way for us to kind of segue and talk about what I wanted to today. So I'm going to go through and read some of the lyrics to you, and then Getting a little emotional already. Then I want to talk to you because I think there's some leadership principles that unfortunately are not really taught well. And because of that, a lot of people are not as good of a leader as they could be. And like I told you, I want you to be a great leader. I want you to inspire people and really make this world better. So let me go through the lyrics here with you a little bit. So it starts off, you who are on the road. Okay, so that's you, because you are on the road of your life, of your career. You who are on the road must have a code. Okay. And how I'm tying this in is there's a concept called servant leadership. And a lot of people that are on the road don't really have a code when it comes to leadership. And following the tenets of social or of servant leadership. And we'll talk more about that. And again, we're going to talk about that a little bit on the webinar. And I'll share more with you here in future episodes. But you need to have a code. And that code that I think you should have is servant leadership, because you need to have that code that you can live by. And so become yourself, okay? And this is another thing about leadership, is that you will become or should become a leader that is just right for you. Each person, we all have our own personalities. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. And it's important for you to become a leader yourself in a way that is authentic to you. And as you go through life, you will start to understand what that is. But just realize that it's okay to be you. It's okay to be exactly as you are, and you can be a leader. Okay. Because the past is just a goodbye, the next line. And so again, regardless of what has happened so far in your life, that is the past, but you have the opportunity and the chance to make the future what you want it to be. Okay. Teach your children well. Their father's hell did slowly go by. And for me, tying those lyrics back into what we're talking about here with leadership is, there's been a lot of bad experiences that people have had with managers and with leaders that they've worked for. I bet if you think back, and boy, I can think of some people that I worked with that really caused my life to be a living hell. And realize that, a lot of the people that you're leading or people that are on your team may have gone through some bad experiences before. But again, that's in the past, and you have an opportunity now to actually change and be different and make their life better. So next to the lyrics, and feed them on your dreams, okay? And feed them on your dreams. Because one of the things that is most important as a leader is to help inspire people. Okay. And so you want to be able to feed them on your dreams, help inspire them, let them know what the bigger picture is that all of you are trying to accomplish. And the more that you can do that with the people that you work with or the people in your own life, the more they get that understanding of the value and the purpose and how their little piece or part of what they're doing is such a big part of the total purpose behind what we're trying to do. The ones they pick, the ones you'll know by, okay? And then we get into, the refrain area. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. And with that, there's good questions and there's better questions. And I think a lot of times why questions just end up driving you crazy. And I know we talk about why questions when we're doing things like root cause analysis, but I think what you'll find is if you ask yourself better questions, stop asking why, because the why usually doesn't matter. What matters more important is the what and the how questions. What are we going to do different? How are we going to make, improve this or do whatever we're going to do? But then it gets to the end here, these last two lines. So just look at them and sigh and know they love you. Now, I know, this is really kind of a business podcast, but I'm going to start using the word love a lot more because the world needs love. And you do not have to separate the emotions and the love that we feel for other human beings when you're at work. In fact, when you do, that's when some really bad shit happens. Okay. And so, as we go through it and talk about this, I want to bring up, and that's why I like the concept of servant leadership so much, is because as the leader, you are actually serving and loving the people that you're working with. And I think that is a key point that we have to remember, and we have to treat each other better as human beings. Okay. So I kind of broke it up, but I just want to go back and read through the lyrics again. And then I'm going to give you a few kind of takeaways today. And then, like I said, dig in deeper on the webinar that we're having this next week. So again, the lyrics: you who are on the road must have a code that you can live by. And so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they pick, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh and know they love you. And, the more that we show love to other people, the more they will show it back to us as well. And, I know in the corporate environment that most of us live in, there's some fallacies, some falsehoods that are put out there. And the one is that you can't show emotion at work, which unfortunately, again, my friends, that's total bullshit. Okay. We are all emotional beings. If you've listened to me for a while, you know how important emotional intelligence is. Okay. And like I said, unfortunately, in a lot of the corporate environments now, they use what we call a carrot and a stick approach. So the carrot and the stick is, again, if you think about leading an animal with a carrot, like you're leading a donkey or a horse, and it's like, come on, horsey, 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 and you got this little carrot, and you're like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, right? And you're leading it along by showing it some sort of a reward that it can get. Now, you can, lead the horse or lead the donkey by using a carrot, or you can use a stick. You can beat the horse, okay? And so that's why when we talk about carrot and stick in a management or leadership perspective, that's really kind of what we're talking about. Now, because a lot of, especially in the United States, and this may vary a little bit around the world, but a lot of corporate management and leadership behavior in the United States is really based on a military command and control type of organization. And a lot of that was because, after the Second World War, all of these men who had served in the military came home. They became the leaders and managers in organizations, and they just kind of carried over a lot of those military philosophies and beliefs that they had learned in the military when they were in the war. And one of those is, you follow an order. And if you don't follow an order, then you kind of beat them with a stick. Okay. And so a lot of people use the stick a lot in management and leadership, kind of beating their people into submission to getting them to do what they need to do instead of using the carrot. Okay. Now, again, this is what we've been taught. This is the history that we've kind of gone through. But let me ask you a question. Would you rather get hit by a stick to get something done, or would you rather be led by the carrot? Now, if you're like me, and I think like most people, we would prefer to be led by the carrot. And that goes back to some of the inspiration. Remember, we said feed them on your dreams, inspire them, move them along that way instead of beating them with the stick. Okay. So if you find yourself wanting to beat people with a stick figuratively, then, one of my recommendations here is don't be an asshole. Okay. Just don't be an asshole. When you, again, think about people that you've worked with, there's some people that would probably fall into that category. Don't carry that on for the people that you're working with, that you're leading as well. If we stop and actually see other people as humans, and if we tap into the emotional intelligence side of things, the world becomes a lot clearer, and you realize that, just like you and I don't like to be beat by a stick, your people probably don't like it either. They probably would appreciate a little appreciation every so often, right? In fact, that's one of the major reasons why people leave a job, is because their boss never tells them they're doing a good job. Now, I've talked to a lot of leaders over the years, and they say, well, I don't need to tell them that they're doing a good job. They're just doing their job, and that's what's expected. But I'll tell you, people want to hear that. And just like I told you at the top, I really appreciate when people send me a message and tell me they're listening to the podcast. Why? Because I'm a human being, and I need and desire that as well, to get, not necessarily to get your approval, because I'm going to keep saying what I'm going to say, but it's nice to know that I'm having a positive impact on people, that I'm doing a good job. Okay. And a lot of times, again, that's what your people want. Okay. The other thing, and then we're going to kind of wrap up for today. It might be a little quicker episode, but the other one is, avoid micromanaging people. And I know, excuse me, a lot of us in this profession, we understand about controls, and we like to control things. And unfortunately, sometimes that carries over into the way that we interact with people. And again, I'm going to ask you the question, just like I did with the carrot and the stick. Do you like to be micromanaged? And again, I'm guessing if you're like me, and if you're like most people, the answer is no. I don't like micromanagement. So if you don't like it, don't do it to your people either. Okay. Now, what that means is sometimes you have to kind of stand back. You've got to set the expectations clear. There's got to be some follow-up and some other things that are done. And like I said, I'm going to get into more of that in detail in future episodes. And I think we're going to talk about that also as part of the webinar this next week. But, if you don't like it, then don't do that to your people. It's that old golden rule that you've heard about, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And if you remember that golden rule, whether you're the leader or if you're just in a relationship with somebody else, that is going to make your life so much better if you just remember and follow that. I don't know what more I can say on that today. I'm not going to say much more on that today. Okay, so let me just kind of recap a little bit, and then we'll kind of wrap up for this week, okay? Again, the title, Lead Your Team Well, that's my own little corniness of, take and teach your children well and turning that into a podcast episode. But remember that, and remember the things that we went through and talked about in those lyrics. Have a code of servant leadership, that you're actually trying to be a servant leader, and not some sort of dictator that rules over your people. Realize people have had bad experiences, but the past is behind us. And what we now have is the opportunity to actually choose and do things differently. Inspire your people, feed them on your dreams. Make sure that you're treating people as human beings. Remember that golden rule. Don't micromanage people. Don't be an asshole, but actually treat other people the way you would like to be treated. So with that, my friends, I think I'm going to sign off for this week. Again, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure and share it with other people. Make sure and leave me a review, through Apple Podcasts or other different podcast things as well. The more people that review and actually put in a comment, the more people are actually going to be able to see this. And then again, make sure and share this with your friends as well. And send me a message. Let me know what you like, because I'm going to keep doing it. And you may hear your name actually on a future episode like we did this week with Oliver Stroman. So again, Oliver, thank you for sending me that message. And I'm going to keep showing up each week, my friends, and try to bring insightful things to your attention in a relaxed way. And I'll probably even keep singing to you as well, because I enjoy it. And I hope you do as well. So with that, my friends, have a great week. Go out, treat people the way you would like to be treated. And I will catch you on a future episode of Jammin' with Jason. Have a great week. And that's a wrap. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Jamming with Jason. Keep on rocking in the audit world. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you later on the next show. If you'd like to earn continuing professional education for listening to today's episode, head on over to C Risk Academy at ondemand.criskacademy.com. And that's C as in the letter C, riskacademy.com. Not only do you get a CPE certificate, but you also will have access to the video version of today's show. The views and opinions expressed on this show are that of the individuals and not of their respective organizations.